Hello and welcome to our Year 9 into Year 10 options evening. I'd like to introduce myself. For those that don't know me, I'm Mr Salisbury. I'm one of the co-principals at the Academy, and I'm joined by my fellow co-principal, Mr Mitchell, who is now going to explain the options process.
Thank you, Mr Salisbury. Just want to start by talking through how your timetable will be constructed when you get into Year 10 and how it will be for Year 11 as well. And when you get into Years 10 and 11, proper Key Stage 4, we have a 26 lesson week. And it's split into these categories. So there'll be 4 lessons of maths per week, there'll be 5 science lessons per week, 6 English lessons per week, 1 lesson of core PE, 1 lesson of core RE, and then we have these options, and this is what we're here to talk about tonight. You have already chosen 2 of your option subjects. You've been studying them throughout Year 9. You'll continue with those, and they will have 2 lessons per week throughout Year 10 and 11. And then you're going to have 2 new options, 2 final options to take at the end of this process, and they'll be 3 lessons per week, and they will go through for the next 2 years. So we've got hopefully a nice bit of information that I'm going to give you tonight to help make this process as smooth as possible. And I'm going to just try and keep things as clear as possible. So, what happens? Well, traditionally, students across the country, when they get to this stage, they choose 4 options. So Christopher Hatton, we have 4 options, no different to any other school. And what we ask is that students choose traditionally a humanities-based subject, that's either history or geography, a language, at this school that's either Spanish or German, and then 2 free options, and that's from a long list, and that's what you got to choose a year early, so that's what you got to choose last year. So throughout Year 9 you've been studying and hopefully enjoying 2 option subjects, whether that was sociology, whether that was dance, whether that was drama, whether it was RE, the whole list of subjects that you will possibly have been studying and hopefully enjoying. So, what happens this year? Well, the first question you'll be asked is, what do you want to study? History or geography? You have a choice, geography or history. So in the option form, you pick one of those. And your second choice will be, what language am I going to study? German or Spanish? Now that's not really an option, because if you've been studying German for 3 years, it's obvious that you're going to continue with that, and same with Spanish. And that's how the process works. But there are a few more complications to it than that. So first of all, do I have to do a language? And that comes up a lot. And it's something that you'll have probably heard me say last year. And last year I talked about the fact that it's important that we get students on courses that they enjoy and that they can be successful on. And that's something that we've been part of our great success here at Hatton, is getting students on courses they enjoy and courses that they can succeed at. So you might be sitting there thinking, I don't think I enjoy languages, I really don't want to do it. And we're not going to force people to do a language, but we're advising the vast majority to do a language. The way that the land is lying at the moment, the way that the direction of travel at the moment, is that the government want the majority of students by 2025 to leave school with a language. Now, if you leave school without a language, then that hopefully won't hinder you, but the concern is that that will hold you back in future life. When you're applying for jobs later on, and on your CV you don't have a language, that may be a problem when the people you're competing against all do have a language. So we've got to say to you that to make you as employable as we can for the future, that we're encouraging you to do a language. We also think that doing a language for the vast majority of you is the right thing. Yes, for some it can be difficult, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be tackled. By learning things in the way that you do languages really does help with your other subjects. So we're there. I'm hopeful I've answered that. But like I say, if you're adamant that you don't want to do a language, get in touch. I'll put the email address up later, head@hattonacademy.org.uk. Get in touch so that we can have a communication about this. It's important that we have dialogue, it's important we have communication, so that we make sure that the right decisions are being made for the right reasons. So, what if I want to do both history and geography? Well, that's possible. There's 2 ways that can happen. The first way is that you decide you don't want to do a language, and then you can have your 2 new subjects that you're choosing this year as both history and geography. The second way is that you can choose a language, choose history, choose geography, and drop one of the 2 subjects you've been learning throughout year 9. So you choose 2 options at the end of year 8 in studying them. You could get rid of one of those and replace it with either history or geography. Now, to help make this a bit clearer, I've got a few examples. So the first example is the traditional example. The vast majority of you will probably go down. So in this case, at the end of year 9, they're choosing a language. So in this case, Spanish. They're choosing history as their humanities-based subject, and they're keeping sociology and drama that they've already chosen a year ago, already enjoying, want to keep them running. The second example is the one I've just sort of alluded to, and that's a student that doesn't want to do language at all, and they study history and geography, and they keep the 2 from year 8, sociology and drama, and they move on with those 4. There's a third option, which is a very rare option, but it does work for some of us, and this is where the dialogue comes in. So for a very small number, this might be a case of they choose geography, they pick up a BTEC subject from new, and they keep their 2 subjects they're already studying. Like I say, for a small number, we do look at creating a curriculum model like that, because we like to put people in the correct pathways. And then there's what at face value probably seems the most confusing model, but it's quite straightforward. If you want to study history, geography and a language, then what you'll do is you'll have to drop one of the subjects you've already been studying. So in this case, this student would choose to keep drama, but not roll with sociology, and they've decided they no longer want to study that. They've still enjoyed sociology, they've got a lot out of it, but for their career aspirations, it's more important for them to be doing both history and geography. So a couple of questions. The first question is, my child wants to study triple science. Now, a number of schools put triple science into one of the options. We don't at Hatton. The triple science is about which group you're in when you get into year 11. It depends on the set you're in for science in year 11. And so at that point, that's when we worry, and you need to worry about if you're doing triple science or not. At the moment, it doesn't come into your option process at all. So don't worry about triple science just now. Like I say, it's a conversation for the end of year 10. And then the other question, what happens if 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I change my mind, my child changes their opinion? That's fine. Keep in touch with us, keep the dialogue, communication. I keep saying the word communication. It's so important. So get in touch with us, we can adjust things, and we can make sure that for September the timetable, the curriculum pathway is correct for them and works. So, this is all some tips.
So some tips. I know that for many of you, this process thinking about, do I take history, do I take geography, it can be a little bit of a dilemma, a bit of a, concern, maybe you're not quite sure. My son, I've got to be honest, he's at the same age, we had the conversation at the weekend. Does he do geography, does he do history? And we went through this process that's on the board here. So, first thing he said, we asked him, what is he good at? And he actually turned around, I'm good at both of them, okay. So he still has to make this choice, and the choice he's got to make, and he wants to do sport as well, so he's got to choose between geography and history, and this is with all your options. So what does he enjoy? And again, he was saying, well, actually, I quite enjoy geography and history. And then he started talking to me about the teachers, and he said, well, I prefer this teacher. And I said, it's got to be about also the content and what is his future aspirations. Think about what you want to do going forward. Is it, I want to be a geographer, I want to know about the land, or do you want to do something maybe in politics where history might be useful? So start thinking about what possibly your career aspirations. How do you prefer to learn and be assessed? That's really important that you know about what the assessment is like for each of the subjects that you're going to opt for. Talk to your teachers. Talk to the heads of subject. There is a range of videos that we will be providing online so you can talk about what is involved in each of the subjects. Go and watch them. Look at what's in the on our curriculum pages. What do you learn as you go into year 10 and 11 in those subjects? Does that engage you? Does that sound interesting? Research. Make sure you are choosing the right subject. Really important tip 5 and 6, and these two I think are possibly the most important. Do not pick a subject because of that teacher. You know, you may not have that teacher next year. We haven't planned the timetable for next year, so you must not pick the subject for the teacher. It's got to be about whether you enjoy it, what the content is about, how you're being assessed. And the really important one, don't follow your friends. Okay, for instance, next year there'll be about 6 geography sets. There's a high probability that you will not be with your friends in that subject. So please do not follow your friends. Be independent. Make your own choice. Now, so what happens next? So the process now follows. So you will have a letter that's been sent home to you. In that letter, it explains the whole option process. There is also a link to a Microsoft form which you complete when you've chosen the subjects that you have opted for. Following on from that, we have a parents' evening on the 21st of April, where you'll have an opportunity to speak to your subject teachers about the options process and about your progress in particular subjects. And then the form needs to be completed by the 7th of May. So you pick your options in, the link to that form is on that letter that I've just explained will be sent home to you, and you pick your option forms, and that needs to be completed by the 7th of May. If you have any questions, as I've already said, please speak to your subject teachers, speak to your form tutors, please phone the school. Myself and Mr. Mitchell are prepared to have a conversation with yourself or your parents, and also the email address that Mr. Mitchell explained earlier, head@hattonacademy.org.uk. Please use that if you've got any questions following this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Salisbury. I just want to finish by saying myself and Mr. Salisbury are so proud to be co-principal at this academy, but partly because the students are just amazing, and they're all unique, and they're all fantastic individuals. And it's hopefully this process, they will find it easy to complete because of their fantastic uniqueness. But if there's any worries or concerns, as I've said many times, the word communication, please get in touch. As Mrs. Salisbury said, you've got your form tutors, you've got your subject teachers, you've got us. Make use of us all so that the right selections are made. Thank you.
Thank you.